Let's have a fun conversation about the biggest business blunders that actually went on to create billion-dollar businesses. We're going to have this conversation with the concierge to small business lending, the one and only Bo Eckstein. Bo, how you doing?
I am doing well. Great to be here.
Yeah, happy New Year and all of that good stuff. It's going to be a fun conversation thinking about some big blunders that created billion-dollar enterprises. What is one of those stories we can go into, and then how we could use that to learn from?
I think Blockbuster Video, and I think this is
Yeah,
relevant because what's happening right now with AI, as we've been talking about, but in the 90s and 2000, they were like the biggest player, right? Everywhere there was a Blockbuster on every corner of the street.
yep,
Netflix was founded in 1997, and it was a DVD by mail rental service.
I remember.
And so in 2000, Netflix founders Reed and Mark offered to sell Netflix to Blockbuster for $50 million.
Wow, 50 million.
50 million. Blockbuster's reaction was they laughed at him. They laughed at him, right? And so we all know what happened to Blockbuster. They went under, and we all know what happened to Netflix. They became a multi-billion-dollar business. So what do we learn from that?
Well, yeah, let's go back because you and I are old enough to remember, right? I have been to, and I had a Blockbuster card. So back in the day, folks, if you don't know what happened before streaming, is you would go to your local video store, and they were nearly everywhere. You would have a card. You would go in, and you would look at a physical wall, and you would select the video, like the VHS tapes that were on the wall. And oh, by the way, if it was a new release, good luck getting it because other people would get it. And you were charged usually a nightly, sometimes a 48-hour, viewing. And then you bring it back, drop it off, and, maybe you get a different video. That seems crazy, just crazy to think about today, but that's what happened. And then to think about Netflix, right? Netflix used to have those red envelopes that they would mail a CD, or I guess a DVD to be technically accurate. They'd mail a DVD. And, you know, basically at the time, right, these would be sent out. You would make a list, you would request, it would show up, you'd mail back. And it was slower than going to your video store, right? Because again, you go to your video store, you're there 15 minutes, you come home, you got your video. The mail, it would come, go, not all the time. But so it's interesting to see Netflix, take this model to Blockbuster, and Blockbuster just to basically not see the writing on the wall. Because even in 1997, it was clear that we were going from, VHS to DVD to some kind of online download now called streaming. But, I could just imagine those old fuddy-duddies in the Blockbuster office sitting back, puffing smoke, going, ha, 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 ha. That's not going to happen. Whoops, you were wrong, and you're out of business.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I even look at, trying to just think about disruption, and I know, like, in 5 years time from now, just think about how our world's going to be different with all this technology that we have now, because it's like a flywheel. It gets faster and faster. So 5 years from now is going to be a huge shift. It's going to be different. I mean, we're still going to be human beings and putting our pants on the same way, but I feel like everything evolves, and either you evolve with it. I can look back at, like, my real estate investing career when after the downturn, or 2011, 12, 13, 14, it was like super easy to get deals. You could just go on the MLS and find flips. I mean, it's way harder to do that now, right? And why is that? Because social media, like YouTube channels and so forth, now people can learn about real estate investing in the masses. And so now it became more competitive. Then you had people doing direct mail. You had people doing SEO. You had people doing that. So now there's such a so much more competitive. So any industry we're in right now, you're going to see disruption. Everything evolves, and we know that. So, like, how do we position ourselves to not get not get passed by? Essentially, right? We don't want to get passed by. What is around the corner? And I think that's what we have to look for. And I think Blockbuster is a perfect example of too big to fail, and what happened? They failed because they didn't adapt, poor leadership decisions, and then they were tried to like come up with a streaming platform, but they were already too late, right? And so
Yeah.
I look at that as a lesson to really
It's
go
funny
with.
when I think about this, and thank you for bringing this great conversation up. The one thing I think about is the leaders were comfortable. That's what they suffered from. They were comfortable. They had what they thought were dependable earnings. They probably looked at their growth trajectory. They were opening more and more Blockbuster stores in more and more cities, and they were like, "Dude, I'm good." Right? They didn't have this. They didn't have the mindset of the VHS, the DVDs on the wall. That business model could be disrupted. They were blind to that, and I think they were blind because they were comfortable. They were not investing in understanding new technology, right? If Blockbuster would have had what in the Valley is often called skunks work, right? It's a set of 5-10 people that their job is to go out and invent ways to put us out of business, right? If they would have had a little skunks works team, that little team would have helped highlight for them that, hey, guys, wake up. This streaming thing could kill us, and we might want to buy Netflix for 50 million so that we could be the streaming answer. I mean, that's the thing. Sometimes you need to invest in the idea of what could kill my business. What could take me out? And again, if you're thinking about being a W-2 employee, right? One of the things that some of you should be threatened by, not all of you, but some of you all do monotonous tasks. You do repetitive tasks, right? If you're doing financial spreadsheets or analysis and it's the same thing each and every quarter, AI is coming for you, right? So you should be thinking like, what things could make my job non-existent? And then when you have that mentality, you can find ways to complement what you have and thus become even more valuable.
I totally agree. And that's why I'm reading the book AI Driven Leader. I actually have it on Audible, because it's like, yeah, how do you do it? It's not like you have to learn to swim with AI, right? Like use it to your advantage. And it's like every day I'm using it more and more. And I just look at like disruption is it happens all the time. And like these too big to fail companies, you see it in real estate investing a lot too. These big conglomerates where you're like, they're starting to raise all this money, they own all these properties, but what happens is they don't build the foundation and they get passed up. They're not adapting to change that, like, and so I see this all correlates, and this is why we have to pay attention to these types of trends, and then pivot your business, like, so you can still flourish. Because I would have never thought Blockbuster Video would go out of business in 1990.
Yeah,
I was going there once or twice a week with my parents, renting movies.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, we would go as a family. It would be a family affair. Dad get his movie, mom get his, the kids would get ours. It was a Friday, probably a Thursday or Friday night routine for us, right? And it was, and then we got pizza or something. We made it a movie night. It was a big thing. Yeah, I would have, as a kid, I could never imagine that going away. And little did I know, a decade later, it'd be gone.
And so that's why going to like the business out there, home service type of business models,
Yep.
right? More and more people. What's the disruptions that are happening right now? More people are working from home. More and more people are beating up their houses, HVAC, those kind of things. So when I read the article from Wall Street Journal Times about, hey, the new wave of millionaires is going back to these guys that own these trade companies, the plumbing and the HVAC companies. So it's very interesting time in history right now. And I just see this time for me as an entrepreneur, as a time for great opportunity, really, for everyone out there right now, is to really embrace what's happening with the world and then figure out how you can take advantage of it.
Yeah, I like it. Well, let's flip the gears. If somebody is looking at small businesses, looking at vending machines, want to talk about particularly architecting a creative offer, one of the things that I've learned from you, and I think it's still true, is we think about real estate being the land of creative finance. Folks, you have no idea how creative you could be in small business lending, whether you're buying an existing business, going after franchise, doing vending. It's all there for you. Bo is the guy to talk to. He is the concierge to small business lending. Where do they go?
OneRentalMeeting.com.
I still
That's
think
it.
it's amazing. You created a website just for this channel, onerentalmeeting.com. It is on your screen right now. Go there, book a call, figure out what is possible. Figure out, he has this little survey that could go in and figure out what business might be a best fit for you. I've taken it personally, which I appreciate. Bo, Happy New Year. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.